Greetings all. This is Frank with Frank and Fruits. We are in Rancho Cucamonga, Zone 10A, in the foothills on the San Gabriel Mountains. Today, our mission is to plant a tree in ground. We have selected a Frankencado. It's a double graft of a reed and a lambhas. And we have dug our hole 3 feet in diameter by 1 feet deep. At the same time, we have collected our dirt here, or our soil, which we are going to amend with these ingredients. What we have here is some sand, which has been screened and washed, and we're also using some decomposed granite. Both of these ingredients promote good drainage as well as provide with good minerals. Trees love minerals and microorganics. For the microorganics part, we're going to use this garden soil, which is loaded with organics. So yeah, let's go do our planting. We have collected the dirt on top of a tarp so we can do our mix before we continue planting. So I'm going to pour some of the components into the soil and mix it up before I start filling up my hole. I want to do the sand first. I'm just going to do half of the bag, and I'm going to save the other half for the other part. I'll do the decomposed granite. And now I'm going to mix up my components. I have mixed the first half of my soil, and now I'm going to put it back in the hole that we dug for the plant. Now this soil contains the natural soil that we extracted from the hole. We took some of the rocks out and we added to it the sand. We added the decomposed granite just to make a base. This is soil that has good drainage. We're in the foothills of the San Gabriels. This area used to be a wash, so we have a lot of rock, a lot of sand, a lot of good components that drain well. So we're just adding the minerals to amend, to complement the type of soil that we have, and load it up with some of the minerals that the plant needs. So once we have done the base, I'm going to start adding perlite to our mix. Perlite is going to create empty pockets where the roots are going to find oxygen to be able to feed itself and grow more healthy. So let's do that. I have added about half of the mix, and it looks like we are at the level where I want to be able to place my pot. So I'm going to place my pot in the hole and calculate how high it's from the grade. I'm gonna place it in the middle, find how I want it to be. I want it to be like this. Then I'm going to take this post and I'm going to place the post on the ground there pretty much. So what I'm finding here is that this is my grade and this is the top of my soil, and I have about 4 inches or so from the grade, which means that we're going to make a little mound in which we're going to plant our tree. We're not gonna plant it deep, thinking, oh, this hole is gonna allow us to collect water onto the tree. That would not be good news for the roots. So what we're gonna do, plant it up high a little bit, so we promote drainage to the sides. We're ready to do our second half of the mix. I'm going to add the decomposed granite. I'm going to add the rest of the sand. And do the third bag of decomposed granite. So for a hole 3 feet in diameter by 1 foot deep, we're using 3 bags of decomposed granite, 1 bag of sand. It probably we will use a gallon or a gallon and a half of perlite. Now for the perlite, you should wear a mask or find the direction of the wind. I can see that the wind is blowing that way, so I don't want to be breathing the dust from the perlite. I want to go very low, and I'm just going to pour it without lifting too much dust. That dust makes you cough a little bit. Okay, that should be good perlite. Now the next thing, we're going to mix the rest of the components very well. So here I'm mixing the decomposed granite, mixing the original soil, mixing the perlite, so we pour the soil into the hole to the level where I need it, so I can place the pot at the right height. Now I'm going to condition the soil here by adding some water. We don't want the roots to make contact with dry soil and shock the roots. What we need is to create a moist environment here, and that should be enough. To place the pot in the hole, I'm going to have to remove it from the pot. I can't just pull it out and risk breaking the root ball. So the best way for me is to cut the bottom of the pot. I'm going to do that by tilting it over and take a knife and cut it from here all the way around. I want to keep it away from me in case the knife, I don't want the knife to cut myself, so go like this, rotate it, and do it away from you. Don't do it close to you, just in case. In there. So we remove the bottom. You can see that the bottom of the pot looks pretty good. I'm just going to loosen it up a little bit. It has the perfect amount of water. You want some moisture, but not too much moisture where it's soggy. In this case, is perfect. The next thing, we're going to cut, place it in place just the way we want it, that it looks straight. We have a 3-way split right here, and they're fanning out this way, so we want the tree to grow pretty much like this, so we'll take less space. The next thing, I'm gonna cut the pot from the bottom about 3/4 up on one side, and we'll do the same from the other side. And the next step is to add the soil at least to this level, And the soil that we add is going to support the pot, and then will allow us to finish cutting and removing the two halves without taking any chances of breaking the root ball. So now we're going to add the mix, and I'm going to focus around the pot first. I just want to put the good stuff close to the root system so the plant will have a good start. Okay, we added enough soil around the pot. I can see that the pot is well supported by the soil that we added. Now we're going to finish cutting the pot from here, one side. We'll do the second side, and then we can remove the two halves just by pulling them. That's one half, that's the other half. Now what we have done, we cut the pot, we placed it in place, we added some soil to the sides so the root ball will be supported and not taking any chance of it breaking down. And then we just finished cutting the pot, we pull the two halves, and we're ready to complete adding our soil until we get to this level. As we said in the beginning, we're gonna try to create a little mound that is gonna be like 6 inches above the grade. From here to here, about 6 inches. All right, let's finish adding the soil. I'm focusing on adding the new soil, the new mix around the tree. If we run short, we will pick some of the other soil that there is around and complete with that on the sides. But close to the tree, I want to have the good stuff, the good mix. So let's finish. So we are almost done putting the soil back into the hole. Now it's time to add some water and take away the shock of planting in new soil. This time I want to add plenty of water so it gets all the way to the bottom of the pot and gets the whole environment moist. At the same time, I'm cleaning up the excess from the top. I don't want to be any higher than where the soil line was before. So I remove some excess. There. You can see the original roots right here. So that is the new level of our pot. Everything else is just gonna go to the sides and form our mound. So we have plenty of water. We said we're gonna add plenty of water, enough to reach the bottom of the root ball. We have added plenty of water, enough so the water can filtrate down into the root system so the tree doesn't get shocked. So we had added all of our soil. We added a little more from the stuff that we dug from the hole, and now it's time to add the micronutrients. So we have added a mix of mostly minerals. We added the sand, we added the decomposed granite, which is great stuff for the trees. And now we're going to add the nutrients that come in the form of organics, which will decompose and provide the micronutrients to the root system. So a combination of minerals and micronutrients is all your tree needs from now on. No artificial fertilizers or anything like that. We're just going to use the decomposition of the organics as the feeding system to our tree. So we're ready to add the organics now. We're going to add about 4 inches or so, all the way around my tree by staying away from the trunk. We don't want to add anything near the trunk because we take the risk of too much moisture will rot the base of the tree. So we're just going to add it all the way around. We take our bags of garden soil, which has a good mix of organics. See, as you can see, the stuff is loaded with mulch and compost and just lots of organics. Even smells good. So I'm just gonna add this stuff around. Now, as you can see, I'm adding it up to the top, so it's nice away from the roots. I don't want to add it where the roots are because we take a chance of introducing root rot from too much moisture. Organics tend to retain a lot of moisture. So yeah, we just staying on the top, away from the root system, but in the perfect place to decompose and provide the micronutrients that we need. We're gonna add one more bag, and then we're going to spread it out. Okay, we're going to spread it out. So we said we're going to stay away from the base of the trunk. I want to keep this area clean up to the same level where we were before planting our tree, right there. Everything else is going to go to the sides, and that's going to create our organic environment to feed our tree. Now we have to add the secret ingredient, which is right here. Here what we have is worms, night crawlers, earthworms. These guys, I'm just gonna bury them somewhere. See right here? These are your helpers. You just put them inside the soil somewhere. They're going to eat it. They're going to reproduce. Here they are, see? They're going to eat it. They're going to reproduce, have a lot more of them, enough to eat the organics, poop it, and create a source of slow release fertilizer for your tree. The next time you add organics will be about a year from now, and what you're going to do is add about 3 bags, which is about 3 to 4 inches all the way around. You stay away from the base of the trunk, and that's it. You put your water. This has another function that is super important. It's a layer of insulation, so the sun will take longer to evaporate whatever water you put into the tree. So it has more of a chance of sucking out the water down to the root system before it evaporates with the sun. So yeah, it's a layer of insulation. It's a layer of nutrients, micronutrients, to provide the root system with the food that it needs, plus the water, plus the minerals on the root system. You have the perfect combo for a healthy, fast growing, vigorous, and hopefully fruitful avocado tree. So the next thing, we're going to form a barrier around for looks and also to keep a retention system so the good stuff won't wash off from the mound that we have created. We're going to create a support system for the tree. It has two purposes. One, to keep it in place for the windy season. We have the Santa Anas coming soon, and we don't want to get up and find our tree laying on the ground. So this is our support system. We're going to have to secure the tree to this support system somehow, so it'll be fixed, secure, and ready to grow. For that, I'm going to remove this stick in here that is supporting the tree right now and replace it with something more solid. So I'll remove the ties, remove the other tie, remove one more, and remove this stick. Okay, we're good. So here again, we don't want our tree to start growing like that, right? We want to train our tree so it will grow compact, short, about 10 or 11 feet, in more of a spreading canopy. For that, we have two nice leaders here to split them in two, and that way we can start training our wide spreading canopy. So let's do that. I'm going to use wire. I want to use some pieces of hose about 12 inches long, and with this is that I'm going to secure my tree. So this is our hose, our wire. We're just going to thread the wire inside the hose there. Now what we're going to do is create a loop like this that is going to support the branch. Why are we using this material? Because if we use just plain wire, it's going to end up cutting the trunk. It's going to end up cutting the branches. Here you have a loop of rubber pretty much, so the branch is free to move around without getting hurt or scraped. So now we're going to put it around. The tree is leaning this way a little bit, so the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to pull the whole structure this way. So I'm going to put the hose around. You want to see from this side, I'm just going to pass the hose under like this, and I'm going to wrap the wire here, okay, like so. And that's what we have done. This, we're gonna pull it around the post and pull it and just create one small loop so we can troubleshoot it later. And then we're going to do the other side. For the other side, we have our hose. There. So I'm going to create my loop. I'm going to tie the wire around. And that is, I'm going to pull it around the post and tie it. This is just temporary so I can see what's going on. Yeah, it's looking good, but we're gonna have to somehow train it so it will be growing upright and to the sides a little bit. So let's do that. I need to train this branch not only to grow and be supported, but also to grow a little bit in a 45-degree angle. So I'm going to tie some plastic wrap around here. I'm not gonna make it really tight. I'm just gonna create a loop like so. I'm leaving a lot of space in between the branch so it doesn't girdle itself. And I'm just gonna go up here and I'm going to tie it right there. Okay, I like it. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. We're going to tie it here before the branch so we have something to hold on and it doesn't slide out. So put it around, make a little loop, and then we're going to pull up the branch up here somewhere. Okay, that's what I like. I like it right there. So yeah, that's pretty much the way we want it. Now we can finish securing our branch. It's by putting a little more pressure, and then I'm just going to wrap this up in case we need to make it longer later. We don't have to use another wire. Just like that. Do the same thing on the other side. We're going to pull it a little bit there and just go around. Like that. It's looking really good. See, we have our 45-degree. The tree is ready to start growing, spreading off to the sides, letting the light and the sunlight in the middle of the tree where it matters. And yeah, that's pretty much it. This structure will be useful for when the summer comes. The high heat and the high sun will burn your tree. For there, we have the structure to put a shade cloth on top and protect the tree from being scalded by the sun. So that's pretty much it. This is Frank with Frankenfruits. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. See you next time.